Hello again. Welcome to the second part of the IoT based weather station tutorial video. In this part, I will discuss some of the most commonly used sensor interfaces with a microcontroller. So the first interface I will discuss is the analog interface. Here you can see some analog sensors. The first one is an analog temperature sensor LM35. This second temperature sensor, the second sensor is an air particulate sensor made by Sharp. Here you can see some analog sensors. The first one is an analog temperature sensor LM35. The second one is an air particulate sensor made by Sharp Semiconductor, which uses an infrared LED as the source and a photodiode as the detector to detect the amount of light falling on it after getting reflected by the dust particulates. In both cases, the output of the voltage has a relation with the parameter that is being measured, as shown by these formulas. So using these formulas or using these relations, we can measure the output voltage of the sensor through the ADC of the microcontroller. Then we can calculate the value of the parameter. Now to read the analog voltage, we need something called an ADC, an analog to digital microcontrollers. Because microcontrollers or any form of computers are digital devices and the uh, sensors output, it is in analog in nature. Therefore we need them. So in early days of microprocessors, that is during Intel 8085 or 8051 microcontrollers, the first generation of 8051 microcontrollers like Intel 8089C51, etc. Additional ADC ICs were needed. For example, like they are shown in the left side. So these are dedicated ADC ICs. However, the later microcontrollers use integrated ADC ICs to reduce the cost and increase the use of use. However, even with the newer microcontrollers, if someone desires, they can use these discrete ADC ICs depending on their need. For example, the discrete IC can provide a 12-bit 8-channel AD converter with an SPI interface. So it won't take up as much pins as the older 8-bit microcontrollers parallel output with parallel output interface. However, it provides a much higher resolution, 12-bit, than the provided 10-bit or 8-bit resolution of the ADCs. Now, here is another sensor interface known as Serial Peripheral Interface or SPI. So this is not a sensor but a module, RTC module. They are known as real-time clock module. So using them, you can timestamp your data that you are gathering at the microcontroller so that it will be more useful. Now note the MISO, MISO, MOSI and SCK pins. And anytime you see those three pins are present, MISO, MOSI and SCK, then you know this is an SPI type of interface. Now the lithium coin cell battery on the bottom here, it makes it possible to retain the time even if there is no power. The same type of ICs are also used in your computer motherboards, which maintains your BIOS date and times. A single coin cell battery can last up to 10 years. Any project requiring timestamp based logging can use these RTCs. And on the right, you can see how the pins are connected with a host microcontroller. Now, apart from these three SPI pins and obvious VCC and ground pins, there is a chip select pin. Now, which helps in case there are multiple SPI devices present and you need to select which SPI device to communicate to. Now here is a serial, another sensor. On the left side, you can see a triple axis magnetometer module by SparkFun. So it can be used as a compass sensor or a flow meter with magnetic impeller or a linear actuator position sensor, because it can pick up a magnetic field, either Earth's magnetic field, or if you bring a magnet to it, then the output also changes. So using that, you can design any instrumentation system. Then on the right you can see another ADC, but in this case this is a 16-bit ADC, so it is a very high resolution ADC. So high resolution ADCs are needed when you are measuring a very low output, low voltage range. The D in pin connects to the MOSI, the D out or the out pin connects to the MISO of the master in slave out, and the SCK connects to the serial clock of the master SPI device. Now CS is chip select. As we have discussed, if there are multiple SPI devices present, then we need to select the particular SPI device that we are communicating to using the chip select. Here is how serial peripheral interface devices or SPI bus is used to connect multiple SPI devices. So these three pins, they constitute the SPI bus along with the ground channel, of course. So in case of there is one master present, then this is how it is connected. In case of there are multiple masters connected, then you need to connect a different pin of the master or microcontroller to the chip select of each device, so that we can enable only one of them and communicate to it. Data is transmitted from between master and the slave and in a synchronized manner depending on this rising or falling edge of the clock. And we should remember this is a full duplex connection. So both master and slave can talk or transmit data at the same time. This is a sensor interface, I2C sensor interface. I2C stands for Inter-Integrated Circuit. Here you can see an LM75A high accuracy I2C temperature sensor module, and on the bottom you can see an optical heart rate monitor module. Those are used in all those oximeters, pulse oximeters and other things. And on the right you can see this a LCD backpack module. This is not a sensor, but you can connect a 16 cross 2 LCD or any of these LCDs, 20 cross 4 or 8 cross 2. Using this, the benefit of using this I2C backpack is to reduce the number of pins needed to connect the LCD with the microcontroller. So it saves some of the pins. Here is how the I2C bus works. So it is a synchronous multi-master, multi-slave packet switched single-ended serial communication bus. Now packet switch means when the data transfer occurs between I2C two devices on the I2C bus. So each packet contains the address of the I2C and the target. So it is widely used for attaching low speed peripheral IC. So this is kind of important. So if you need high speed, then you should use SPI devices. But if lower speed is okay or is acceptable for the particular application, then we can select an I2C devices or I2C buses. Generally, the I2C sensors are cheaper than their counterpart SPI devices for the same reason. SDA, SCL, these are the two pins, serial data and serial clock. Those are used to interface the I2C devices with the master. In this case, the master will be the microcontroller. Now, this RP is a pull-up register. This is a very important part of an I2C bus, without which the data received at the microcontroller becomes corrupted or you won't be able to read it properly. This is another type of interface called one wire. The benefit of this sensor is you need only one wire, and of course ground is needed. Now this single wire can carry the voltage required, the VCC, and it can also carry the data. Now some sensors, they have these three different pins. For example, on the left you can see, so this type of temperature sensor is widely used in aquariums and other places where the sensor needs to be submerged in liquid or water. So this protective metal jacket and the rubber sheath, they protect the sensor or they prevent it from getting short circuited. So this is called a DS18B20 temperature sensor. So this is a one wire communication device. And similarly, this DHT22 humidity sensor, it also can sense the temperature as well. So it also has a single output line or a data line. Now this is how one wire communication is used, or how the interface works. So you can see there is one master and there can be multiple slaves. Now each slave has an address which is a factory programmable address, and as we have discussed, it has low speed or 16.3 kilobits. That's the max typical reporting rate. Now on the left side you can see the master. This is most likely our microcontroller, and from the data line there is this VCC. there is a pull-up register that is connecting to the VCC, and same data line can be connected to the VCC through a hard pull-up or through a MOSFET or a transistors. So in this case, it provides the power, and this register is used when this I2C device is transferring the data. Now on the OutTC side, you can see this VDD is connected to ground. So there is only a single wire connecting to the microcontroller, and of course the ground. Now it is in this case, we think, or we are assuming that this ground is shared with the ground of the masters. Otherwise, there won't be any communication. There must be two signals, or this signal, this 1 and 0, 0, 0, or 5 volt or 0 or 3.3 volt, whatever it is, they must be with reference to a ground. So this ground must be shared with the master device or the master microcontroller. So even though it is one wire device, there must be two wires, or at least, for example, let us consider it inside your vehicle, which is a metal chassis. In that case, you can connect the ground to the metal chassis, and wherever you need a ground, you can just take the signal from there. But one wire is needed to transfer the data. So that's why it's called one wire device. So here we can conclude this part of this tutorial about the different type of communication interfaces available. In the next part, we will discuss the MQTT protocol.